What's up, guys? Quick video for you here on chainsaws for beginners. Anybody that's new to a chainsaw, you bought a house or land or whatever and you've never really used chainsaw and you need to know just the basics, this video's for you. So I got a Stihl here. There's lots of good brands of chainsaws. Obviously Stihl, everybody knows Stihl. Echo's pretty good. Husqvarna's really good. You just got to go with, what you're comfortable with. Especially if you've never had a chainsaw, I would just start out with a small beginner one. But anyway, this is a 18-inch Stihl, and let's start off with the chain. So on your chain here, these are your teeth right here that cut. And this is how it goes on, with the teeth facing forward, right? Now, if you turned it around and you tried to put your chain on like this, weren't paying attention, the teeth are backwards now. It's not going to cut anything at all. It's going to act like a dull chain. You're going to burn your clutch up and everything. It's not going to work. So make sure you got the teeth facing forward when you go to put it on. This is your clutch right here. It's your clutch, and right here on top of the clutch, that is your sprocket. Your chain sits on the sprocket, and that is what drives the chain forward. So your teeth will sit on here, and I just got a new sprocket put on. Gradually over time, just using it, especially if you frequently use it, your teeth are going to eat into the sprocket, and it's going to just eat down further and further and further, till eventually there's nothing left for the chain to grab onto. It's eat all the way through the sprocket. When I say that, I mean it has eat all the way through. Like, it'll sit here and it'll eat all the way down to where it can't even sit on it anymore, and you're not going to have any drive, any power, and you'll also burn your clutch up doing that. So I just had a new one put on, but that's just a thing. Eventually you got to put new sprockets on. This is my tensioner here, this right here, and this is my Phillips, or my straight head screw for it. So I'm going to just show you how it works. After you get your chain on, just going to turn it and you'll see it moving. See it moving there? And that's tightening it up. And then if you go left, that's loosening the chain. It's your tensioner. And I got a brand new chain, so especially with a brand new chain, they're not stretched any. You're gonna have to loosen that tensioner all the way, and it's still gonna be hard to get on. Now, you need to, as you can see, my bar has had plenty of life, but when you get a chain, whatever bar your saw comes with, if you say you bend your bar and you gotta get a new bar, you need to remember to get the bar that goes with your saw. I like Oregon. Oregon's a really good brand for stuff like this. My previous video, to sharpen your chain, is an Oregon sharpener. So I got an Oregon bar too. I really like Oregon. But anyway, when you get a new bar, make sure you get one that matches. And you need to make sure the .063 and the .325 and the 68. 68, that's drive length. You got 68 drive lengths on your bar here, or 68 drive lengths on your chain. So it tells you how long your chain needs to be. It tells you the pitch of your chain, and it tells you I believe the gauge, or I can't remember, but I know pitch, drive, and one more thing I can't remember. The .325. Let's get a picture of and then yeah, I think the .063 is the depth, and you can see the picture. It's the .325 is the pitch, I believe. So depth, pitch and drive length, so 68. Your bar tells you when you need a new chain. Excuse me. Your bar tells you when you need a new chain, what kind of chain you need, and it has to match these numbers here that we just went over. That's how you know what chain to get when you need a new one. So, all right, guys. First things first, you're gonna get your chain. Make sure it's facing forward. You're gonna put it on the sprocket, like so. And then if you see this, or the tensioner there, the little knob on the tensioner, you see you got these holes on your bar. Your bar sits on that knob. And that's how the tensioner works and how it tightens the chain up. So you're gonna put your bar on there, get your chain on, and then here's your cover. A lot of chainsaws have 2 nuts. For some reason, this one only has 1, which I like because I only got 1 nut to do and undo. But then you'll put, after you do that, you'll put your cover on. You'll have to, the bar, it won't be tight, the cover obviously. So the bar, you'll have to hold the bar because it's gonna wanna flip off. So you'll hold the cover on and then you'll start screwing the nut down so the bar stays in place. All right, guys, here's the first step of that process. Like I said, I got a brand new chain, so I had to put the phone down. It was not easy getting it around the end of the bar there. But there's your first step in the process. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the cover on. Oh, actually, I like to, before I put the cover on, I like to tighten it up some. And cause, you know, you got those grooves in your bar that the chain sits in. You see how it just sits right in the middle there? I like to tighten it up some and kind of get the teeth closer to the bar, because it's a lot harder if you put the cover on and then start to tighten it if it's this loose. So yeah, I'm gonna tighten it up some and then put the cover on. All right, guys, I got it tightened up enough to where the teeth are pretty much in the groove. Again, highly recommend it, much easier. Now we're gonna put the cover on, get the bolt on, and there's a little trick you gotta do at the end when tightening the bolt, and I'll show you that here right now. Okay, guys, so I got it on. I haven't tightened the nut all the way, because when you're tightening the nut all the way, the nose of the bar needs to be pointed up when it gets tightened. So I usually got a boot on, not a shoe. But anyway, so I'm gonna put it here. So the nose is up, put a little pressure, and I'm gonna finish tightening the nut. All right. Now you just put a new chain on your chainsaw. And we do need to finish tensioning it because that's too loose. See that? Too loose. I don't believe it's an exact science on getting your chain tightened, but it needs to be tighter than that. And also note, you got to loosen your bolts, your nut, before you tighten the chain up. So I'll have to re-loosen it here to show you this. But yeah, the bar will not move obviously if the cover is all the way down on it. It's got to be up some for the tensioner to work. So let's get that loosened back up. All right, we got it loose. It don't got to be super loose. It's loose enough. So now we're just gonna tighten it up some. Just give it a few turns and then check it again. Pretty close. I'm gonna give it another turn. There we go. That's good and tight. Don't want to over tighten it, but you need it pretty tight. You don't want to be able to, like I was before, lift it up almost a ½ inch off of the bar. It needs to be tighter than that. So that's good. All right, now I'll tighten it back up and we're about done. All right, guys, so really the only thing left, I mean, you know, if you don't know how to start an engine, I'm sure if you got a chainsaw, you know how to start an engine, but usually there's instructions on whatever small engine, lawn equipment you get. It tells you the procedure to start it. I mean, you just, you know, choke it all the way down, and you'll learn your equipment, because all equipment's a little bit different. You'll learn how to start it, because, you know, some engines might be a little harder to start than others, even if it's the same, you know, the same machine. One engine might be easier to start than the other. That's just how it is. Yeah, and here's your, don't forget, you get your gas. It's a mix, obviously. It's a 2-cycle engine. And get your oil, your bar oil. You got oil that gets pumped through and down on the bar and lubes the chain up. You'll know if you got a sharp chain and it's on right and you got a good clutch and everything, and it's not cutting well and it's smoking, you might have a clog, as you know. You get a lot of debris, obviously, cutting with a chainsaw, and the little holes that the oil flows through to lube up the chain on the bar, they can get clogged and the oil won't flow. So that's something you always need to check. And a good tip to do, just go up to a piece of wood if you want to make sure your oil's flowing. Hold it down to that piece of wood like this and rev it, and then look at the wood. And if the wood, make sure the wood's dry for one, but if you look at the wood and you see splatter, then that's the oil, because it comes out of the tip, because, you know, the chain moves this way, the oil moves this way, so it'll come off when it rotates down here. It'll fly off right here. So when you hold it down like that, you can see if the oil's flowing. But that's all I got for you, really, guys. Thanks for watching.